before I jump in, what's your ethnicity? Are you Filipino?
Yes, I am.
Okay, yeah. I can tell because my wife is she's half Filipino, and so
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Because
So
now I'm looking at you. Are you? You could
no,
be.
no, I'm not. My wife is though. So I've been immersed in that world for almost 20 years now. So so I can, you can pick up dialects and things like that. And then your last name kind of gave it away as well.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're very Spanish last names.
Yes, very Spanish. Yeah.
So yeah, I just wanted to double check on that.
Well, good, good, good.
So then, obviously, COVID-19 has been, changing everybody's lives. How has your life and your business changed at this point in this juncture in time?
It's changed for the better. It's given me an impulse. It's given me that, I call it my holy fire. It's definitely fanning my holy fire to step into something I've never stepped before. So I've been coaching for a long time now, but stepping more into leadership is something that is newer. I did a Facebook ad. I created a monthly soul powered leadership training. It started in February, and so when this hit, I'm like, oh my God, I am so poised, like I'm so ready for this. So for the past 2 months, the topic of that webinar training is Holy Fire, a new kind of leadership, which is a new kind of leadership away from the fear programmed manipulation control tactics. And it's all coming out into the open right now. And then there's a lot of us in the personal development, in the spiritual growth field, that just wants to lead from the heart, lead from the soul, and bring that out into the open. So it's really fascinating to see, first of all, the widening of the gap, the separation in human consciousness. You can really see it out there. The fear-based consciousness versus what I call the soul-powered consciousness. It's amazing to see, and just really, this COVID-19 is really a huge opportunity to have a reset. It's a huge cosmic pattern interrupt. Talk about NLP, right? It's a huge boom. Everything that we've known to know as as our comfort, as our normal, as a way of life is no longer. There's no going back to that normal. So now how are we going to use our connectivity, our innovation, and all of that? It's so fascinating to watch the human spirit come alive in each and one of us.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just trying to focus on the silver lining. I've always been more of a positive based mind anyways.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to say, like, that's another reason why I wanted to get on this call with you, because after I looked, you just look like an illuminated soul. You just look like somebody I needed to talk to.
Oh, thank you.
And it's just
hear that, people. Say it again.
Yeah. Oh, illuminated soul. You just have a fire. You can tell there's beacons. There's people out there in the world that are beacons. And I like to gravitate towards them, because right now there is a lot of darkness and there's a lot of fear mongering, and I don't watch the news, but I'm still surrounded by it because it reaches me in one way or another, whether it's my mom sharing it to all of us. And I have to tell her, Mom, I understand what we're going through, but you don't have to share this with me. And so, like, after, I feel like I've been pretty strong-minded, but whenever it's on the global scale like this, just the fear is just kind of like weighing me down every day, and I have to like fight it so hard.
Yeah, can I make a comment on that?
Yeah.
When you say strong-minded, then that's, I don't want to say weakness right there, but there's an imbalance there if it's just the mind. So my philosophy of coaching is the integration of the physical, the emotional, the mental, and spiritual. If it's the mind alone, then you're feeling, then you're triggering it. When I say you, I mean the population, right? I don't want this to be a coaching session. It's not. It's not. But thank you that you're letting me pick up on this. Because if it's just a strong mind, and I came from that background. I was an accountant before. I thought I was going to die an accountant, but I will powered myself to death. So much so that I burnt out, so much so that I had a mental breakdown. You know, why? It's because it's functioning on its own without the support of the emotion, without the support of the spirit, without being fully integrated into the body, into the physical. Does that make sense?
Oh,
So
absolutely.
if it, only one aspect of our entire beingness is more active than the rest, then we're out of sync, we're out of balance, we're out of alignment.
Oh, absolutely. And it's to touch on that as well. You know, I think Dr. Joe, he talks about, because that's also why I meditate. I've been a meditator for about 7 years now, and it's the reason why I love Dr. Joe Dispenza so much is because he's finally putting everything into terms that I can understand and be like, oh, that's what was happening. But he talks about like the mind, and obviously the heart is the most important part. But to have that balance, and through the meditation, you know, we stay in our minds, we stay in a state of beta brainwaves, you know, so we're just like always concerned about things around us. But in meditation, we like drop lower into alpha and theta. And at those moments, after you reach alpha, it's whenever like the mind and the heart, there's finally coherence so that they can communicate. And the brain is not just like doing one thing over here, something else over here. It's all just one coherence.
It's coherent, yeah.
Yes.
I love Dr. Joe Dispenza too. I really studied to death his book, Breaking the Pattern.
Oh, that was
Breaking the habit of being yourself or something like that.
Yeah.
Because it so aligns with, I trained under Tony Robbins, Chloe Madonna's strategic intervention coaching program. And so the pattern interrupt of who we thought we were, the breaking the habit of that. And Tony Robbins, because I also went into meditation in the beginning, right? So I would, bliss myself out. And it became such an escape avenue for me to escape what's going on, the chaos in my life. And I would just connect up and then, ooh, so blissful. And then when I come back down, I still wanted to,
Oh yeah.
So there was definitely that rage, that repressed, suppressed anger that was wanting to come out, and I didn't understand, like, who is this person? And then there's also the neediness and stuff like that. So his book was really instrumental to going deeper into what I was already training myself to be under Tony Robbins, because Tony Robbins is about emotional mastery. It's really about pattern interrupts. How do you reframe the mind? How do you physiologically interrupt your pattern so that what you're doing and what you're desiring are actually in alignment.
I've been working on that for the past 11 years, trying to keep I have my intentions, and then I have my behaviors, and I'm trying to like align those so that they're working together instead of against each other. So then, like, you talk about Tony Robbins, it's obviously he's like a hero of many of ours. Who else would you consider like a coaching hero of yours, or somebody that inspired you to join the field that you did? And if it's just Tony, then it could be just Tony. But
there's many of them. I haven't followed Tony in a long time now. I feel like I'm is that the right word? Conglomeration of many of my mentors. So so I'm a big soup. But before Tony, the Four Agreements, I think was the very first book that kind of, wow, be impeccable with your word. I'm like, I'm just trying to put food on the table.
No, absolutely.
And then I got hit, and then there was one time I went to I thought, okay, well, I must lose weight because then my husband will be I will be more attractive, or why is he not paying attention to me? Things like that. All the things
Yeah.
going on in my head. So it must be the weight. I must lose the weight.
Hmm.
And so I picked up Marianne Williamson's book.
Okay.
It's called The Spiritual Weight Loss. I'm not saying the whole thing. I picked up the book and I got hijacked
Okay.
for real. And that was it. I'd forgotten my goal to lose weight because it's not really what I wanted. What I wanted was joy. What I wanted was freedom. Freedom from anything that weighs me down. Freedom that incessant mind chatter. Freedom from that rage that just comes out of nowhere. Like, oh, why?
Yeah.
This new husband at the time stepped in between me and my daughters, and I thought I was being funny to my children, but he stepped in, don't hurt the kids. I'm like, I'm not gonna hurt the kids. But when he mirrored that to me,
Oh man.
that he saw me as a monster, it was like a huge wake-up call that, okay, this is not a joke anymore. People are seeing me as a monster. Oh my God, and that's our deepest fear, right? Oh my God, what are good people gonna think about us? So it started unlayering, and it was Marianne Williamson. I burnt out. I had a
Oh, yeah.
meltdown. That was what I used to call it. I had a meltdown, but it was it really was a mental breakdown, and I went to a really dark place, and it was Marianne Williamson who sparked that pilot light inside of me, reignited it, and then I started feeling better again. So there's Marianne Williamson, there's Derek Rydell. He was my first taste of a coach,
Okay.
as a in a group coaching format.
Okay.
And then once I started feeling better and seeing transformation in myself, then I looked into coaching programs, and then I already signed up to be an awakening coach, and then got into Tony Robbins. And Tony Robbins came to me 3 times. The first one, like, he's loud and can't stand the guy. The second time he came into my radar, it's like, oh, okay, cool, but I was still not impressed. The third time I was in my sister's basement. I was visiting Winnipeg, and I was crying. Oh my God, just really crying. And I was crying so silently so as not to alarm my mom and my sister and my whole family upstairs. And really taking ownership of how I was behaving and how I was so blinded and stuff. So that was Tony. And then there are so many more in the spiritual world. Deepak Chopra, Emmanuel Dagger. I still follow him to this day. My new mentors now are Sandra Walters and one other person that I'm not really very good at retaining terms names, so I apologize.
No worries, no worries. These are all like some of them I haven't heard of, so I'll definitely look into them. And that's
check out Deepak Chopra's new book, The Meta Human. It's kind of like my own soul powered. And I love that he's giving me the verbiage for, it's like, oh, same idea, but and I'm not making it up.
No, exactly. That's what I liked about Dr. Joe. He says like knowledge is the forerunner of experience. So until we have a framework that we can our left brain can logically kind of like understand, then we can really allow the things to work. I was going to say earlier, in addition to breaking the habit of being yourself, because I've read most of his books. The one that I thought was the best follow-up to that is Becoming Supernatural. Have you read that one yet?
Not yet. It's in my iPad.
Oh man, it's amazing, because then he also in there he shows you a meditation that you can do, and that's the one that I've been working on for probably since October. So this meditation is just so amazing, because you start off with a breathing exercise, which I felt like was one of the missing pieces to my whole if you had to ask me what my biggest dream of all is, like, to break the code of manifestation, to like put it down in a formula, like to know like you do this, you do this, you do this, and boom, here's your goal, kind of thing. So
And that's a great practice to do, because we've been trained to focus on what's not going right, or
oh
where did I go wrong, rather than what's going right.
yeah,
Even in my training as an accountant, it's what's the worst case scenario. Then you prepare for that, you budget for that, you make projections, but what about what's the best case scenario?
oh
Nobody
man,
talks about that. So I love really that you mentioned that, because it's a shift from worst case, the fear based world, to okay, what can we create here? Let's play.
yeah.
Let's play.
It's like I'm looking for the miracles now instead of looking at what's going wrong. And that happened. My
And,
wife
and,
one day,
and not looking for miracles, but how can you facilitate that miracle?
exactly. That's kind of what I meant.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was a shift that my wife actually induced for me, because one day we were just talking, and I remember one of my friends was going to see a psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist told him, when you wake up, most people, they immediately think of like what's going wrong, like what do I have to
Yeah,
fix today, and and then my wife said to me one day, like, instead of like thinking about what's going to go wrong, why can't we just think about what's going to go right today? And so ever since then, every morning, I think first thing I do, I think 5 things that could go right today. I think about like, I find that dream client, or somebody gives me a wonderful compliment, or we have an amazing conversation or dinner. Just even, it's all about the little things that add up. That's what life
yeah,
is just little
yeah,
things. Then you have once every now and then a big thing, right?
yeah,
Um,
yeah. And then you anchor that. It's really a beautiful process.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The anchoring was another big thing I really loved about NLP. Um, But before I just keep getting off sidetracked, let me ask you more about you, and what your program is about, and what kind of coaching clients you take on, and just a little bit about your practice.
Yeah, the people I take on want the next best level for them, right? So these are the leaders, the change makers, the executives who are used to, you know, they're executives. They're used to getting things done, but then if they plateaued, or if they're stuck, or if they're experiencing the oh my God, how come the willpower is not working any longer, type of thing, that's where I come in, because I'm all about balance and reconciliation. So everything you need, it's already inside of you. But what is it that is creating that imbalance, or what takes you out of center, right? What takes you out of flow? And so it's either a limiting belief, or some subconscious programming, some unresolved emotion, or some trauma disconnect between you and your spirit, and the mind and even the emotions will hardly ever surrender to the spirit, right? Until I show the mirror, oh, well, this is what's happening. If you keep that blocked off, and Corona times, right? That's our crown chakra.
Oh
So
well.
this is happening to many people now, where they're activating the crown and letting their true self come in. And so, yeah, so I help executives, coaches, and change makers, and leaders to really fully step into soul powered leadership, and create authentic confidence, greater compassion, and that absolute inner certainty already inside. Because if we are focused on the external as our source of happiness, and our source of power, our source of anything, what's happening right now, this huge big reset is, nope. It's been cut off. The bar's cut off. The church itself is cut off. You can't go to your mom and dad for a picnic. So many of this dependence in the external world has been cut off, and this is it. We're left with this right here. And it doesn't mean we cannot connect, you know, and I teach my clients that even if you're here, you are an energetic being, and you can really connect heart to heart, soul to soul with a being, even though they're not physically in front of you.
Sure.
So anyway, so that's my coaching. I can go on and on. And
No, that's
your
fast.
question is, what's my coaching program? In 4 words, it's, you know, activation of that alignment. For some people, they're just really compartmentalized so much that they're fighting. There's no inner harmony inside of them. So for the first time, they're getting that experience, that activation of, oh my God, this is how it feels to be in center, to be in
Oh
calm, to
man,
be in
that's the
harmony.
best feeling.
Yeah, so that's the activation part, and usually that's a single session with me. And then the explore, experience, expand. Those are the 3 other programs, where explore is, okay, I can be this, there's hope for me yet. There's you know, there's that empowerment stage. So it's an exploration of who they really are and why they did they become who they were, and who they, you know what I mean? So it's that's the exploration. And then the experience of it is, okay, I'm embodying this new identity, this new persona, this new everything. Doesn't mean that that version is bad. It's just there's so much hidden underneath the shadows that it's wanting to come out and play too. So that's an experience.
Oh,
And
wow.
then once you have that feeling of embodiment of an entire new being, and a reconciliation of all your parts playing together, not against each other, but playing together, then now you can expand into aligning the outer and inner. Now you get into the manifestation process that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Now you get to be the conduit of, okay, what's next? God, what do you want me to create? You know, use me, use my hands, use my eyes, use my mouth. Where do you want me to go? Who do you want me to help at this time? And yeah, it's a beautiful process. So those are my programs.
Oh, wow.
um,
Yeah,
yeah.
so it's like you have to, you know, whenever we start to work on ourselves, we realize we spent years adopting other beliefs that weren't our own. So now first we have to, you know, pull out all those weeds and pull out everything. You have to clear the space to like make, you know, you make space for the blessings and stuff like that. But if it's clogged up with these bad behaviors, or these I don't like to say bad, but just these negative behaviors that don't promote our, you know, best versions of ourselves,
Yeah.
you know, you can't manifest what you want, because there's going to be so many blocks. So I totally
Yeah,
understand the program.
yeah. They're not bad, because up to a certain point they served us.
Hmm.
But you know, my last, you know, explore, experience, expand. If you're protecting yourself, then you're contracted, then you're not allowing more of you to come.
It's
You're
like
not
survival
experiencing
mode.
more of you, right? So that's the contraction part. So that's what protection does. But you you gotta like an incredible Hulk, just break through all that, and really expand into the more of who you really are. It's a fascinating journey. It's incredible, really. Yeah, it's not bad, it's stages in life, right? It's levels of awakening, if you will, or levels of consciousness.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's like you can't just jump from kindergarten to, you know, 12th grade. You know, you have to take
Yeah,
those steps.
yeah, and we're infinite beings.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
how do you experience that? How do you
Yeah.
experience your infinity? You just, you know, there's a threshold. It's infinity. So there's, you're never there. But that's the beauty of it, is like, oh, look who am I today. You know, and it's just amazing that you get to pick and choose, you know, what energy you want to play in, or you know, who do you want to play this time. Oh, okay, well, let me try this time. Oh, okay, that sucks. That's really not what I want to do.
Yeah.
You know, there's not a whole lot of, oh, I failed. There's not a whole lot of drama. It's very, oh, okay, let me talk to you now, Albi, today.
No, yeah, yeah,
It just
yeah,
becomes all play and creation, and really, what are we co-creating here at this moment?
exactly.
It's
Yeah,
a big
the co-creation is like the biggest part of it because a lot of times we just get caught up in ourselves, and it's understandable because we have that whole reptilian brain. Growing up, we had to, or evolving, we had to make sure we were taken care of, kind of stuff. But back to Dr. Joe, it's like you're either living in survival mode and the high beta, cortisol, adrenaline levels are always controlling everything. You're in fight or flight all the time, or you're in creation mode and you transcend all of that. And that's whenever like the magic happens. And
yeah.
so I'm focused on the magic.
Yes.
I want to be magical.
Yeah, we're really magical.
One thing that you wish you would have known, like when you started out on this journey of your soul coaching or your life coaching, um, is there anything that you now know that if you
I
would have
wish
known
I knew.
in the beginning, yeah, could have just helped you out a lot?
Well, well, first let me say that if I knew it then I would um, deny myself of all the learnings, right? It's
Yeah.
like, then I wouldn't. I think we need that pain as a motivator.
Man, yeah, so true.
It's crazy why I waited. Well, I was never. I've always been stubborn. So if I can tell you, I wish I wasn't too stubborn and I was just listening. It's a lie. I couldn't be to where I am now if not for my stubbornness, if not for that drive, and I can't be the leader that I am right now if not for that stubbornness. It's matured to something else, but I still want to call it belligerent and stubborn. But definitely uh, it's smoother now around the edges.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I love the way you put that. I've learned the power of my mind. Now it's my responsibility. Like I can't still just sit back and be in autopilot. Like I have
Yeah,
to take the reins. So now it is my responsibility, and from here on
yeah,
out, everything is my fault. You know.
right. Yeah, this journey is so amazing. Yeah, we're never the same person we were yesterday, or even
Mhm.
the time we woke up. There's always something new.
Constant change.
Yeah.
Um, okay, let me ask you about how about tell me about a patient that you've had that either just completely touched your heart or a patient that changed your whole practice and your approach. Was there anything that just kind of rocked your foundation as you were building it?
I think each and every one of them. Yeah, when I came into coaching, I knew that my clients were the intellectual ones, the fixed, the rigid,
Oh
you
yeah.
know. But then I got thrown this, and I was ready, okay, I'm all set up, right? And then um, I got thrown this healers and energy workers who have been in the business for longer than I am and who are psychic. And I'm like, that's my jealousy. I wish I was that. And you're coming to me for coaching, and they have different feedback to me. And this is what I was telling you about. They're like, Tess, you're a multidimensional coach. What? What you talking about? Tess, you're a healer. What? I'm just a coach. I'm just a coach. And I resisted that woo woo, and
Oh yeah.
and until I embrace it, bring the spiritual. I don't call myself a spiritual coach, more of a like soul powered coach. Okay, so it's the balance between now the left and the right brain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Soul
Yeah.
powered, center, harmony. That's what I'm, the bridge between the two worlds.
Yeah.
So that's when it all shifted, and it was not working until I bring in the four pillars. the four ledgers of life, I would call it as an accountant, and reconcile those.
Yeah.
So those are the big, I'm like, oh my God. Yeah, a client of mine sent me a card. I love the soul work that we did together. So people are calling me soul coach. Okay. Yeah. So I take those in, and at first it's like, I'm, it's like the ego trip, right? Woohoo! But it's really true until I step into it. If I'm shying away from it, then if there's fear, right? I'm
Yeah.
not ready to meet myself yet. But once I fully step into it and really, okay, it's a bigger calling than I thought. I thought, a transformational coach was one term that I was called when I was still starting coaching, when I was still a student coaching others for free. And someone called me, Tess, you're not just a coach. You're not just a life coach. You're a transformational coach. Wow. So those are they really feed me and set up like, damn you. There's more work.
Oh man. I can totally resonate with that for sure. The work doesn't ever stop.
And even my book, when I wrote it, it felt so good when I was writing it, and then it came to a complete halt because I'm not there yet. How can I say all these things when the final chapter of the book is, because the person who did my book cover just interviewed me like what you're doing right now, and she came up with wings, a heart, with unlocking the heart, unlocking the power of the heart is the title of the book.
Okay.
But behind the heart is the wings of an angel. And I'm like, my analytical mind at that time is like, I don't think we're there yet.
Oh, yeah.
You can't publish that book. But now with your comment in the beginning, okay, I think that's a signal.
Yeah.
Let's come out with a book. Do you know what I mean, though? It's like, oh, wow. There's that resistance. There's like, are you kidding me? You're just fooling yourself. You're just disillusioned and blah, blah, but delusional. But then, no.
It's their mind saying no, but your heart's like, no, this is who I am, so take it or leave it.
Yeah. So yeah.
So is there like do you have like a ritual, like in the morning, like how do you come like get centered into yourself, or before you go see a client, is there something particular you do, whether it's a meditation or like a few mindful moments, or how do you become the best version of yourself every day?
Okay, so it's a moment by moment intentionality, right? But in the morning, it's meditation. I don't usually start my work until 10 a.m. So in the morning, meditation, journaling my thoughts, capturing, what people call downloads, right? But at some point you don't call that downloads, it's just you really is sharing your truth. But in the beginning, people call it download. I got this guidance. It's you. Just own it. It's you. That's your soul power. Bring it. So that's what I do. Before, part of my big training before was to put myself in state before coaching. I haven't done that in a long time. Now it's just doing a movement and bringing that in, and boom, I'm ready. Because when you've practiced being yourself and being in your heart, it becomes, you fall back into your nature anyway. So all that unlayering has happened already. So what you're practicing, it becomes fully embodied at some point. But if you're looking for a routine or a ritual, Tony Robbins' ritual, the I am the voice, is a good one. I am the voice.
Oh yeah.
I lead, not follow. I create, not destroy. If you do that before your coaching session or before you meet with someone, He also has an incantation, uh, the wealth, uh, mm, you know, and some that's a very powerful too. I can't remember. It's been a long time since I've done it. But right now, what I do is this one I learned from Sandra Walter, is breathing from the core of the earth, breathing, bringing it to your heart, breathing from the highest frequency of light, the highest heaven that you can tune into, and bringing it down so that your heart, heaven and earth one. You're literally bridging heaven on earth in your own body.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Okay, and so just breathe from that space, whatever you do, you know, if you're functioning from that. And of course we get disconnected time and time, and you know, you just keep going, you know, keep going and do that again. And there's just a mere touch of the heart brings you back to that calm, to that center, like right away. It synchronizes the brain waves and the heart waves instantaneously, so there's no thought process to it. Once, of course, you let go of all the resistances and the hesitations and all that, you know, all the belief systems. Once you let that go, you just, you know, break, you know, see what I'm doing there? Taking the elevator, the mind taking the elevator to my heart. So I just do that, boom, done. I just have to recall now why I'm doing that.
Yeah.
But it's become so ritualized in me that when I do that, I get myself there right away. I quickly brought up Tony's incantation, and this is really beautiful. If your listeners are really wanting to prep their, you know, their state of mind and emotional state too, is God's wealth is circulating in my life. His wealth flows to me in avalanches of abundance. All my needs, desires, and goals are met instantaneously by infinite intelligence, and I give thanks for all my good now and for all God's riches, for I am one with God and God is everything. I repeated that for a very long time, you know, maybe 10 times before I would coach, before I would talk to someone, until I didn't have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's part of my ritual incantation before.
So it's kind of like an anchoring then, right? Just
Yeah,
like
yeah.
technique.
Yeah, you're anchoring this it's not a set of belief because it's true, right? You know, you resonate with it. Again, the focus, right? You're training yourself where to put your focus in, what energy to keep feeding, and also to keep bringing into your life by doing all this incantation. And then it's now the truth that you believe it, because if it's not true, you know, it like what's happening right now, it will collapse anyway if it's not your highest truth.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's another silver lining of the whole COVID experience, is everyone is being forced to look at themselves and turn inwards and finally address themselves and be like, who am I really?
Yeah.
You can't run away anymore, you know, so
Yeah, no, anywhere that you have a crutch, anywhere that you're depending on an external for a source, until you're sourced within, all those crutches are all gonna come away. So it's gonna feel like a betrayal. Oh God, why did you do this to me? But it's really you coming back to you. I know. I like I got hit in the head so many times. I tell you, you know, we can sit here for days, and I will never have, you know, I will always have something to say. It's a lot of stories.
it's just something I had to learn a long time ago. There's going to be pain, but then on the other side of this mountain is going to be just a beautiful, beautiful life, you know?
Yeah.
So in this field of industry, like in this practice, you know, in your work, I'm curious to hear, like, what are your like family, what do they think you do? Like your parents or your mom, or like, what do they, if I were to ask them?
They just tolerate me. As long as I don't try to coach them, we're good. We're good. You
Okay,
know?
so they know you're a coach then.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
As long as try to not meddle in their affairs but in the beginning it's like you should do this, you should try this, and of course there's a pushback, right?
Sure.
When you're cramming information down their throats, it's like,
Yeah.
stay away, you crazy woman, right? But now they tolerate me.
That's a really tough lesson to learn is when you start learning all this information, you want to, I guess I'm still using the word help incorrectly, but you want to share this information, right? But you start cramming it down people's throats. And I've just had too many relationships that have fallen apart because of that. And my intentions were good because I wanted to help, but then it just wasn't received the right way. And then my approach was too forceful. And that's just how how everybody I've noticed, it's like, you're just forcing new information, and people won't accept information unless they think that they found it on their own,
Yeah.
kind of thing. So
Yeah.
it's all in your approach. But I've ruined relationships that way, unfortunately, where I'm like, oh, this, it's amazing. And they're like, okay, I'm going to cut you out. I'm not ready to hear this.
Yeah, I learned that the hard way, that unless someone gives you permission to coach them,
Yeah.
Then you're just sharing an unwanted opinion.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the way to put it. Unless they give you permission,
Yeah,
keep
and
your
yeah,
mouth shut.
yeah.
Just keep
And then
working
the
on your own
other
life.
thing too, if you're worried about your family or friends, and feels like they're not doing anything, you just stand there strong. It's like your higher self to their higher self. They have their higher self too. They have their soul too that's leading them, but it might not be the time yet to step into it. The soul knows when to wake up. So it's not something we can rush. But if you will just look at everyone, that their whole beings, that even Judas has a role, right? That they're playing an important role in life, and that it's good. It's good, and you just be the light, bright, as bright as you can, and you will draw to you people that are inspired by you and that are like-minded. And anyone else, they have their own people, they have their own way of receiving this information, in their own way, in their own process, in their own timing, and it's all good. It's all good.
It's what's really crazy is we were talking about synchronicities. Just the other day, I was thinking in depth about Judas, and I was just thinking about Judas Iscariot and like how his life and what just his story. And then now you just mentioned him. I don't know how to I don't know how to define that. It's like, what does that mean? But maybe it's just like, hey, I was supposed to talk to Tess today. So I'll take it as that.
Yeah, well, there's something there. I mentioned to you, Tony Robbins came to me 3 times. So the third time Judas comes, and you're like, okay, what's really going on here?
What's going on here? I don't want to betray anybody.
Because when it happens to me 3 in a row, okay, I really pay attention now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's one thing. The second thing I know is when there's like a contraction inside me, when I'm, oh, what's going on here? What's creating this tension in my neck, or tension in my, what's this butterfly? Then those are my symptoms now. Okay, that means I need to pay attention.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it manifests in physical forms as well.
Oh, totally. Yeah, totally. Or you get hit in the head. I'm like, why?
Okay. It's just as blatant as that,
Everything really is working for us. It's so it's really working for our highest alignment. It might not be the gold pen that I wanted, but the highest alignment,
Sure.
or the highest good.
Yeah.
That's the theme nowadays. That's where we're going. That's the world we're creating now. No longer this world where only a few people are enjoying life at our expense.
For sure. That's what I'm seeing as well.
Yeah, they're fired.
It's like life, it doesn't happen to you. It's happening for you. So now it just takes that shift to see that and to accept it,
Yeah.
to flow with it. Because a lot of times we want to ride the horse in the wrong direction, but you know, ride in the direction it's running. You know, so it's like, don't stand in the middle of the river. You know, flow with it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um,
And
and
I bet to just follow that thought that you have with supernatural, it's life is happening through you.
yeah,
Am I correct about on that?
yeah, yeah.
Without reading it, just the word supernatural, you're allowing life to birth through you. You are now life itself. It's
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, we're channels. Like one of my affirmations every day is I'm a channel for life's flow of abundance. You know, like I want abundance to flow through me. I want it to know, like it can. I'm a conduit that it can,
Conduit, yeah.
you know, it can go through me, and then whatever messages I need to share, I give it permission. And I've had to work on allowing myself to be that conduit, but
Yeah.
I don't ever plan on giving up. You know, so.
Yay.
Tess, I really appreciate your time. Is there anything I should have asked that you felt like I should have, or is there anything else any other information you'd like to share?
No, this is wonderful. This is perfect. Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
no, I learned a lot, and this is the perfect time for me to have this conversation with you. So I really
Yeah.
appreciate you imparting your wisdom and your knowledge and all your soul findings. You know, your soul
Yeah.
empowerment. Uh, this is what I live for right here. So thank you so much for this
Thank you
conversation.
too. And in regards to your wife,
Oh, thank
yeah,
you.
yeah.
I'll yeah, I can't wait to show her and her mom and all them, because I feel like they'll definitely be able to relate to you. You know, so,
Hello, mom, inay.
yeah, yeah. That's one thing I missed is some good Filipino food. You know, some pancit or just. I mean,
I know, right?
my wife, she makes it too, but
Yeah.
it's just
I'd totally break the quarantine and go to your house if you had pancit right now.
oh yeah, and yeah, all that adobo and all the good stuff. My wife, she makes sinigang and all that, so
Sinigang is really good too.
it's one of my
Yeah.
favorites. Just it feels, you know, it tastes good. It feels like it's
They're
not heavy.
soul food.
Yeah,
Filipino food is soul
yeah,
food.
I guess so. That's probably why I love it so much. So I'll have to make sure we get some here pretty soon.
Well, all right. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it. You have a great day.
You too.
All right, bye bye.
Bye bye.